Now what we're going to look at is string formatting, outputting things to the screen, format strings, and the format method, as well as the print function in Python, which puts things to standard output. So today is largely going to be concerned with output and output routines. To begin with, let's talk about a couple of operators on strings, which are fairly elementary and which I've yet to discuss. One of which is the concatenation operator. It's pretty self-explanatory. If I go sum plus thing, it concatenates. So when the plus sign sees a string on either side, what it does is it takes those two strings and glues them together into one string. Now another operator that's often handy is multiplication. You might think, well, that's kind of strange, but let's see what it does. So I will make a star, and then I'm going to multiply that by 50. It makes 50 stars. So you can repeat a string, like let's say I go A, B, C, D, and multiply that by 10, and it will simply repeat that operation 10 times. So we have plus and we have times, and the order of operations is not at all surprising. If I go A plus B times 10, you can see that the multiplication operator is stickier than the addition operator or the concatenation operator on strings. So that's an elementary thing, and we've gone ahead and done that. Another little odds and end I'd like to pick up on is there are special characters that come from using a backslash. So I can do something like this. Watch, star, whack n. I use the term whack for backslash because backslash has too many consonants, too many syllables. Now I'm going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, whack n. 1, 2, 3, 4, whack n. Okay, there's x. Now if I just say, oh, well, what's x? That doesn't look very special. However, if I use the print function, this is how it actually ships that string to standard output. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so the backslash n is a new line character. And let's look at backslash t, A whack t, B whack t, C whack t, D whack t, whack whack. Ooh, here's y. Let's print y and see what it looks like. To make an actual backslash, you can defang its magic nature by preceding it with a backslash. So backslash or whack toggles magic. If a character is magic, such as backslash, turns the magic off. If the character is not magic and it has whack, that character has a magical interpretation, it's turned on. And the two most common things you're going to see are whack T for tab, whack N for new line. Now let's talk about some things that are taboo. Python objects are keenly aware of their type. So if I do a shenanigan like this, this could be confusing because the plus sign is between a number, and when Python sees the number, it wants to add it to another number, and a string, which it would want to concatenate. And those two actions are not compatible. And Python rightfully displays its ire. It's defending its type system. Now, one thing about type determines context. So the types of operands surrounding an operator determine its action. And since the actions seem to be contradictory here, Python elected to just punt. Now, if you are a JavaScript person and you did the same thing in a console, you get 5 cow because JavaScript is a jolly, string happy language. It wants everything to be a string. And when you concatenate something to a string in JavaScript, it turns it into a string and concatenates it. But Python, it's a little more discerning in its appetite. And its type system is strong. It's a very strongly typed language. Objects are keenly aware of their type. Now, another thing we're going to look at is outputting things. Now, let's suppose I do this. X is 5, Y is 3. And I like to print 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. Now, here's one way I could do it. It's ugly, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say stir of X plus sign in quotes, plus, oh, what do I put next? Oh, stir of Y plus space equals space plus stir of X plus Y. Wow, that worked. But I would describe that as being verbose and painful. Python gives you two options, and I'm going to show them both to you. One uses the format method for a string, and here's how it works. You just say print, quote, empty curly brace plus empty curly brace equals empty curly brace dot format. And then the first curly brace is going to be filled with an X, the next one with a Y, and the last one with an X plus Y. Y. Okay. And make sure our parentheses match. Bam. That's a little nicer, isn't it? Now here's a second way you can do it. You can do this with something called an F string. To make an F string, you type an F first. Then you put quotes. And then you put a curly brace, and you put your X inside of it, plus Y, all right, equals curly brace X plus Y. And you get exactly the same thing. Now, one thing that's interesting about the format method is you can do something like this. You can also do this. I'll put a 0 here, a 1 here, oh, oops, a 1 here, didn't mean to do that, and a 2 here, and it tells these optional numbers tell what order, the order in which to drop those things into the placeholders. So I can go like this, I can go like this. Now watch this little trick here. Print of, quote, 0, ha, 1, blurred, 0, foo, 1. Now, because I only have 0 and 1, I only need 2 subsequent items. And so I'll say meow, and oh, wait a minute, I need a dot format. Meow. And 42, because that's the meaning of life. We'll just throw that in there. And look how it dropped them in. Okay, so you have the F string option, where you do curly brace and the variable, or an expression. You can put an expression inside of here. The expression's evaluated, the result is turned into a string, and it's plopped into that place. So this is a clean and easy way to have tight control over the format of things that are going onto the screen. There's more than this, but I will content myself with that for now. Now, a second question that might enter your mind is, how about writing a program? Let's talk about that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do Control D, and I'm going to exit out of Python. And I'm going to actually write and run a Python program a couple of different ways. Okay, one way I'm going to just is to open a text editor. So I'm going to use, on a Mac, I can use the VI text editor, and I go VI hello.py, and hopefully you know something about using VI. If you don't, I'll show you how to do this with Atom as well. Let's just go print hello. All right, that's it. There's my whole Python program. Look how mysterious and complicated it is. I'm going to save and quit. And to run it, in a CMD window, I can just go, or a terminal window, I can go hello.py, and it'll run. Now, a lot of you probably don't use VI, and I will show you a way to operate that is painless and easy. You open the Atom text editor. Here we go. Now I have it. It's in, okay, so now I have an untitled file. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type print hello. Hello from Atom. So I'm going to use Atom to produce the file. Now, once I create this masterpiece, I need to save it. So I will go up here to my file menu. I shall say save as. And a dialog box will come up. And I'm going to save this somewhere. Oh, let's just save it here. It does not matter. Okay, I'm going to save that as hello.py. And when I do, it's going to go ahead and say, oh, this is a Python file, so I shall color it appropriately. Now what I'm going to do is I know where the directory is where I put this thing. And I'm going to go ahead and go to that directory. I need to type the letter C. I have an alias that takes me straight there. And there's hello.py. You can see it on my list right here. So I can just type Python. In a PowerShell or terminal window, you type Python hello.py, and boom, there it is. So now you know how to write a program. So we learned about format strings, a couple of different ways of formatting, and we learned about the print function, a little bit more of its capabilities, but we have a little more yet to explore, and maybe we will do that now. Let's go ahead and open this up. Open up Python. Now here's a couple of options you have with the print function. You can do this. You can print a comma-separated list of items. Dog, true. Bingo. Okay. You can see that everything that's separated by commas, a space is put. Suppose you don't like the space. No, I don't like the space. All right. Then you can do this. You can specify something called a keyword argument. You just say sep for separator equals, quote, 3 stars. Okay, you can put whatever string in there you want, and everything is separated by 3 stars. Now, one other thing you can do is you can specify something called end. Now, if I don't want a new line at the end of what I print, I can put an empty string, and you can see this printed out, and then it did not insert a new line. Okay, so you have sep for separating comma-separated items, and end for ending the string. Let's see if we could do our earlier 5 plus 3 equals 8. Let's try that on for size with this. So I'll just go 5, but then I have to remember to put a space in here. 3, and then I have to put another, all right, And then I'm going to put 5 plus 3 in parentheses, because then that'll get evaluated first, become 8. Hopefully this will work. Hey, look at that. Although I guess I went with a little too much space. I should have done this. I can say sep is empty string. And there we go. Okay? So that's yet another way of formatting. So we just learned about writing we can write this in a program. We can write it in a program, run Python on it, and have those statements be executed. Now, for you Windows users out there, I'm going to show you one other type of string that is often handy. Backslash is a magic character, and that gets really annoying, double backslashing. And if you don't like that, you might like this. All right, so I just produced a Windows style file path. And see, what happens is that all the so-called magic characters, their magic is completely suppressed. This thing is called a raw string. Raw strings can be triple quoted strings as well. So you can have format strings, F strings that we saw before, and raw strings, and in combination with print, sep, and end, you have very tight control over how Python outputs things to the screen.